It was supposed to be a routine mission, watched live by millions. But just 73 seconds after launch, everything went wrong. What caused the Challenger disaster shocked the world. The Space Shuttle Challenger disaster was one of the most devastating tragedies in the history of space exploration, occurring on the 28th of January 1986, when NASA's Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart just 73 seconds after liftoff, killing all 7 astronauts on board and shocking the world, not only because of the loss of life, but because it exposed deep flaws in decision-making, organizational culture, and the handling of technical risk. Challenger was launching on mission STS-51L from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And among the crew was Krista McAuliffe, a high school teacher selected for NASA's Teacher in Space project, whose presence made the mission especially symbolic and widely followed by the public, with millions of students watching live on television. The shuttle lifted off at 11:38 a.m. local time on an unusually cold Florida morning, with temperatures near freezing, far colder than any previous shuttle launch. Almost immediately after liftoff, observers noticed puffs of black smoke escaping from the right solid rocket booster, but the shuttle continued to climb. At 73 seconds into flight, at an altitude of about 46,000 feet, a catastrophic failure occurred. A flame from the right booster burned through the external fuel tank, causing it to rupture, and the shuttle was torn apart by aerodynamic forces. The breakup happened so suddenly that for a moment, many viewers did not realize what they were seeing, thinking it might be a staging event, until the horrifying reality became clear. All 7 crew members, Francis Dick Scobie, Michael Smith, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Judith Resnick, Gregory Jarvis, and Krista McAuliffe, were killed. The immediate cause of the disaster was traced to the failure of rubber O-ring seals in the joints of the right solid rocket booster. These O-rings were designed to prevent hot gases from escaping during ignition, but in the cold temperatures of launch day, the rubber became stiff and lost its ability to seal properly. This vulnerability was not unknown. Engineers at Morton Thiokol, the contractor responsible for the solid rocket boosters, had raised concerns for years about O-ring erosion and had specifically warned that cold temperatures increased the risk of failure. On the night before the launch, Thiokol engineers strongly recommended delaying the launch due to the cold weather, arguing that the O-rings might not function safely. However, under intense schedule pressure and concern about repeated delays, NASA managers pushed back, questioning the engineers' data and demanding proof that the launch would be unsafe, rather than proof that it would be safe. In a fateful decision, Thiokol management overruled their own engineers and approved the launch. This decision became one of the most infamous examples of flawed risk assessment in engineering history. The subsequent Rogers Commission investigation revealed that the Challenger disaster was not simply a technical failure, but a failure of organizational culture, communication, and ethics. The commission found that NASA had normalized deviance, meaning that known problems were gradually accepted as normal because they had not yet caused catastrophe. Previous flights had experienced O-ring erosion without disaster, leading managers to underestimate the danger and treat warning signs as acceptable risks rather than urgent red flags. Engineers' concerns were filtered and softened as they moved up the management chain, and dissenting voices were marginalized. The investigation also revealed that NASA's public image as an ultra-safe, routine spaceflight program had created unrealistic expectations, both internally and externally, leading to pressure to maintain schedules and appear reliable, even when risks were increasing. The astronauts themselves were not informed of the O-ring concerns, highlighting a disconnect between engineering knowledge and crew safety. The aftermath of the disaster was profound and far-reaching. NASA grounded the space shuttle fleet for nearly 3 years while it redesigned the solid rocket boosters, adding a third O-ring, heaters, and improved joint designs to prevent future failures. The agency also restructured its management and safety oversight processes, creating an independent Office of Safety, reliability, and quality assurance to give engineers a stronger voice. The Challenger disaster fundamentally changed how risk, communication, and dissent were treated within NASA, at least in principle. For the American public, the tragedy shattered the illusion that spaceflight had become routine and safe, reminding the world that space exploration remains inherently dangerous. The image of the shuttle's smoke trails splitting into a chaotic Y shape in the sky became an enduring symbol of the disaster,